Yo, what's happening everybody, King GBL here and welcome back to a brand new Go Battle League video. Today I'm going to be showcasing a really strong team in the Spring Cup, and I think this is a team I might use a lot going forward, so I highly recommend this as a strong meta team for climbing and trying to gain elo. We're running Furthorn in the lead. Furthorn is so good in the lead because it does not have that many negative matchups in this cup. Trevenant, as you're seeing here, is one of the worst Pokemon, but you have two ice types in the back which can deal with that, and of course things like Wheezing can be a bit of a problem if they land in overheat, but generally this has some really strong matchups the whole way across the board, and even Tentacruel here cannot do anything really against this Furthorn. This thing is super bulky, and I'm actually running it with Thunder. The recommended moveset is Flash Cannon. It does take a while to get to the Flash Cannon, so I think Thunder is personally better, because it helps you nuke the likes of Pelipper. You actually take that matchup with Thunder, and Mantine if they come about, and you have a little bit more extra coverage against like bug types. The bug type I'm thinking of specifically is Araquanid, which of course is Drought and Water, so it does help out in those sort of matchups with water and bug types. And against Tentacruel, you're able to land that Thunder, and they know that they can live a Power Whip, but the Thunder does a lot more damage, so it's well worth using that. And we have Walrein in the back, which is just a bulky beast, and again it's very similar in the respect where it doesn't really have a lot of like extremely hard counters. Like the matchup you guys are watching on screen, yes, this is a bad matchup for Walrein, but you're able to chip away and do a lot of damage. I think you can go for like one Earthquake and an Icicle Spear, but in this matchup here, like, we're getting this pretty low and we're actually like reaching the Icicle Spear as well, so the opponent's forced to throw, so Walrein is just amazing for this meta. We actually, in this matchup, it was super close, and we end up having two Power Whips here, which will take out the opposing Furthorn. I noticed with this team I do see a lot of opposing Furthorns, which can be a little bit annoying, but in general, you know, it's not too bad. Finally, we've got Ninetales, which I'm running with Powder Snow. I recommend using Ninetales because it has a really nice coverage with Psyshock. Now, Psychic moves are going to be very powerful in this cup. If you watched yesterday's video or the video earlier today, Bruxish with Confusion was a bit of an issue and was putting in a ton of damage. So any Pokemon that have some sort of Psychic coverage, as you're seeing in the matchup here against Roserade as well, it will be weak to Psychic. You're going to be hitting like Venusaurs like super hard with it, although of course you can just go for Weather Ball against those. I think mainly it's Tentacruel and Wheezing that you get the most benefit out of that, because if they're not expecting it, it'll do a lot of damage. And Ninetales, just overall, pretty bulky Pokemon, but does a decent amount of damage, and I highly recommend it for this cup. With that introduction out of the way, we're going to hop into these battles. I'm going to ask you really quickly just to hit that like button for me. It is absolutely free. And of course, subscribe to the channel, guys. It is absolutely free as well, and you're going to get videos that you enjoy every single day on Pokemon Go Battle League and the Spring Cup. I'm going to be going pretty hard this week and the next couple of weeks because we have a couple of Great League formats, so if you guys want to see some different teams and some fun commentaries, this is definitely the right place to be. But hopping into the battles here. So in this matchup here, Superior is coming back in. Is it just me or do they know Earthquake? I might be thinking of a different Pokemon. Maybe I'm thinking of something else actually. But we have two ice types in the back, and as soon as I can get out of this match, I definitely will. They know Aurelius, which is actually a very interesting coverage move there. Aurelius could be quite an interesting one for sure against the opposing grass types, but we actually do end up taking it out, and we're just going to come in with Walrein here. And at this point, we don't even need to go for the Earthquake. This thing is quite glassy. They go for the Mega Horn, which just does a lot of damage. And we're just going to fire off an Icicle Spear, which at this point will be enough to take it out. And GG's to the opponent. So we're having a pretty good set so far. I just called it out, but we lost the first game of the set, and we're now 2 out of 3 there. So definitely a good start here. And in comes Furthorn versus Trevenant. This is about your worst lead for Furthorn, apart from Mawile, obviously. Mawile is just a problem for this team, really, isn't it, overall, if you think about it? Wow, what would I even do against Mawile, bro? You know, I probably just would try to line it up with Walrein because it would just be neutral damage, but it would definitely be an issue for sure. We've got a Gelatin here. I do call the Surf, which is nice, and we're going to go for another Psyshock here, which will definitely put this thing at risk. The opponent, okay, they let that go, and they will need to throw here because I could potentially threaten to take Switch. What I do decide to do here is, since I've got a Trevenant in the front, I'm going to try to farm up a little bit extra with Furthorn. This should just be a Surf, so we can let this go. And here's the thing about Furthorn versus Trevenant. It's a bad matchup for Trevenant, but bad matchup for Furthorn, but with loaded energy. This actually like flips so quickly because these Power Whips really add up. Trevenant, of course, is a Glass Cannon, and look at that, we've got it down to like 35% health already, and it's not even got much energy, so like we're definitely just chipping away at this thing slowly but surely. In comes a Pelipper, and at this point I'm willing to double shield this and try to get out the other side. I try not to throw in CMP right there, and the opponent fires off a Hurricane, which we shield, which is beautiful. We decide to fire off another Icicle Spear, and the opponent has to shield this. We're going to keep farming up here, and yeah, we actually throw the Icicle Spear just before they would be able to reach the Hurricane, a couple of moves before. The opponent shields that up as well, and we'll see what they want to do. I'm hoping this is going to be another Hurricane, but I think, okay, they actually do go straight for it. And in comes Trevenant. So I actually completely miscounted that. They had a Seed Bomb loaded, and this is where it gets a little bit trickier. We can get off this Power Whip though, which will do a lot of damage. But at the time I was like, oh no, I've through this match, haven't I? But lucky enough, the 2 Power Whips do enough damage to it, and we can just farm down the Pelipper before it can threaten with a Hurricane. Pelipper is definitely another very good pick for this cup. I would be a little bit worried about running into Lanturns. So first set with this team, we went 3-2, which is pretty nice. I probably could have avoided one of the losses maybe. But GG's there, and we're going to hop into the next one. So definitely a good start. As you can see, I actually went 0-5. I was using that Rosary team, and I used it for another set after the video. I just got absolutely hard countered left, right, and center, folks, with that team, unfortunately. So I decided to swap out to this one, and definitely done a lot better for me so far. So in this match right here, you can probably just like go for the YOLO Thunder. If people are expecting you to use the correct move, you could probably just YOLO off a Thunder here and just get them down to like 30%. I did decide to go for the safer play of the Power Whip. The opponent shields it up, and at this point I'm happy I've banked a move, and we can come in and just absolutely tear this thing a new one with Alolan Ninetales. Now I'm going to shield up the first one here. They go straight for the Shadow Ball, which is beautiful. We're going to overfarm just a little bit here and see what the opponent wants to do. This Weller Ball would take out, and we've almost got another one loaded, so the opponent decides, okay, it's a losing matchup here, and they decide to get out there. Now in comes Tentacruel, and this is what you're going to see about Psyshock, guys. It has so much nice coverage. The opponent's either going to have to shield or get an absolute ton of damage done to it, and now it's actually in Weller Ball range, but we cannot quite get it off. So like even in that really bad matchup, you're able to get off a ton of damage, and we're going to come in here and probably just commit to an aggressive farm down. This is not quite in farm down range, so I decided to swap out to my Walrein. In comes a Mawile, and we'll see how this matchup plays out. So we're 1-1 shields here. They go for Power Punch. I know it's just the Power Punch. I decided to full send the Earthquake here, because I've been trying to bait opponents in that 0-5. I was baiting and getting called like the most ridiculous bait calls people were doing, so at this point I was like, right, I'm just full sending every hard hitting move here. The opponent goes for an Acid Spray. I don't even need to go into the Fairthorn at this point. I can just farm it down. And yeah, lucky enough the Mawile let that first Earthquake go. It's pretty obvious bait, like, you know, okay, bait the first one and Earthquake the second one. So I decided, you know what, I'm just going to start full sending these moves, and it did pay off. As Jimmy Finn would say, there are no baits here. We just go straight for the big move, and it definitely paid off that time. If the opponent had a shield at that, I was kind of in a rough spot, but if I had a baited and they called it, I was in an even worse spot, I would say. So here we go, guys, into the next one. Fairthorn into Trevenant. Again, like, I could just swap straight out to Ninetales. I think Ninetales is actually the harder answer for it, but they come in with a Tentacruel, and this is where you guys are going to see the Psyshock again, and this is going to do a ton of damage. They're down into the yellow already, and what I think I decide to do here, okay, I do let this go. I think I decide I might be able to get off a Psyshock, and I'm just kind of hoping here that the opponent's not counting correctly. So in this matchup, you'll only get off one Psyshock, so trying to go for the Weller Ball and the Psyshock. I mean, I don't have the best IVs, so maybe if you have like a rank 1 or something, you will be able to get off two Psyshocks there, but we're going for the aggro farm down. Absolutely love farming this thing down with Fairthorn, and you guys are going to see the Trevenant come back in here. I even over farm above 100 energy here, and fire off the Power Whip. There's one Power Whip, not even throwing after one, I'm just throwing this straight away. I think they're on 4 Shadow Claws here, if I remember correctly, and we're just going to swap straight in. We've got 2 shields. Shadow Ball will do the most damage here, and I decided to let it go. That was wild, actually. Why am I letting that go? I should not be letting that go. In comes a Bomb of Snow, and this is actually fine. Can't believe I let that one go. That's kind of crazy. I have 2 shields. I make decisions like this sometimes, bro, and it's like really shocking. I guess I decided, okay, I'll keep both shields, and I'll have both Pokemon alive in the back, so I'll be able to, like, you know, decide what to do with the shields there, but no reason not to shield that. Decided to farm it down anyway, and it worked out fine, but I'm trying to think, like, what could have potentially ruined me there. I'm sure there was something that could have came in that would have ruined both of my Pokemon there, but GG's nonetheless, we got it. I guess I'm being a little bit harsh on myself here, but in comes Jumpluff, and we do swap out to one of our Ice types straight away. The opponent farms up a little bit, and we're going to go straight for the Psyshock. Now, this is an interesting Pokemon. This used to be such a good Pokemon. It can spam off Weather Ball super quickly, and it gets to the Earthquake here. Politoed is an interesting one. I decided to call a bait, and the opponent full sends it, and we get to another Psyshock. So we're going to either take this out or get a shield off the opponent, which is perfect if you're playing an ABB style team. You know, getting some sort of shield advantage, coming back in with the Pokemon that's super effective. That's pretty much what you want to do with ABB style teams. Now this could be an Earthquake, but we can eat this with Fairthorn. Of course we've got the joint Steel typing, and I think I ended up throwing here. This should just be a Weather Ball. I didn't want to take that damage. Okay, we actually didn't throw, which is beautiful. So again, we're just farming up to 100 energy. We swap straight out, and in comes a little Charmer here, Sylveon, and in comes Sylveon. We're just going to spam these off. The opponent lets that one go, which is surprising. Sylveon's not the bulkiest Pokemon. We throw after 4 for good timing here, because we want to try to, you know, retain this Walrein if possible. These charms are adding up super quickly though, but we do get off another move, and this is absolutely perfect. I think the opponent was committing to the charm down, and at this point we've got a jump off. Can we get to this? We just about can't, and the opponent's got energy. We're going to go for this. Would Flash Cannon be better in this situation? It surely would be. This is neutral damage anyway, so we can just shield this up. These Fairy Winds are doing absolutely nothing to Farforn, so we don't even need to. I probably could have just Power Whipped that, but I just knew, like, you know, there's no point in risking it. I can definitely get to the Thunder. They definitely can get to 2 moves, and Fairy Wind is definitely not going to farm down big Farforn, so I was comfortable enough to just be a little bit safer there and make sure I got it, but GG's the opponent nonetheless. And as you can see, the power of Farforn and Walrein together, just the bulkiness of both of them, and the ability to get off all the moves, and of course, like I said, Ninetales, if you've got good IVs, is bulky enough as well. So once again, we're swapping straight into Ninetales. In comes a Tentacruel, and you guys are going to see this over and over again. The opponent's Trevenantly Tentacruel swap. This is a very, very common thing, and that's kind of why I have Ninetales here, or like why I do swap into Ninetales, because I know that I can do this. I think I make a mistake here. I should have just tried to throw off the Weller Ball. So if you guys ever get into that position, just throw, as soon as you get the Weller Ball, just throw it straight away. Like I said, unless you've played the matchup differently, and you've got better IVs or whatever, that's what you want to do. We once again farm this thing down. You guys have seen this. If you've seen it once, you've seen it 100 times. We're going for back-to-back Power Whips on the Trevenant. You know, this is just, you know, it's repetitions at this point, and we'll throw off another one here before the opponent does reach a move. Most likely we'll swap into Walrein. We get a shield off the opponent, and at this point, I think I do shield this one wisely, so I'm actually playing a little bit better here. The opponent does go for a Seed Bomb, but we will get off an Icicle Spear before they reach another move. They shield it, so I'm like, right, buddy, so you might be weak to me in the back. And I think at this point we might even be able to farm the whole way down. Okay, the opponent comes into their own Walrein, so this kind of makes sense. We're a couple of Powder Snows ahead here, so we could just stay in this matchup and just eat the Earthquake, or we could possibly go for a swap out. I let the opponent fire off the Earthquake, and then I swap out, because that actually does a decent amount of damage, and I want to get some sort of usage out of Farforn, and I don't want to leave myself in a position where it's Farforn versus Trevenant with a ton of energy. I actually slightly misplay this. What I should do here is actually let the opponent farm me down a little bit more, and then throw the move, because as you can see, the opponent gets a Dragon Claw or a Shadow Claw through, and I was a little bit worried at that point, like, oh no, they're gonna farm me down and reach a Seed Bomb, but luckily enough, they were too low for that. So yeah, pretty straightforward match. Like, very bad lead, but you can just sort of swap it around with your back 2 Pokemon, and it just works like clockwork every time. Right here we've got a Pelipper, and I'm not sure if the opponent would be expecting us to run Flash Cannon or Thunder. Like, I usually expect people to run Thunder, even if Flash Cannon is the recommended move, but I do decide to go for the bait. The opponent fires off the Hurricane, and guys, that will do a lot of damage, especially coming from Pelipper. Even with this the joint Steel typing, it is still neutral damage here. We fire off another move here. We could have just one-shot this out of the sky with the Thunder, and the opponent is shielded up. So at the very least, we're getting a shield back. I decided to swap out just in case they have something I need the Farforn in the back. Farforn 4 in the back, and in comes an Abomasnow. So I'm like, right, right. You're swapping in an Abomasnow to my Walrein. That does not seem correct somehow. So I decided to shield it up. I'm not sure if this is correct. You know, maybe I should just come in with Ninetales at that point. The Powder Snows would do a little bit more damage, and I could get a nasty farm down. But I decided I want to get this Abomasnow out of here. We'll take switch with this thing. Our timers are coming back up, and in comes a Wheezing, folks. Wheezing is just such, like, as a closer, bro, this thing is hard to deal with, and the opponent still has a shield. So I think at this point, investing that shield might have turned out to be a mistake here, because this thing is low health, but what have I got in it? What can I do? Like, my timer's not up, I don't think, as well. Okay, my timer is up, so I decided to build up a little bit of energy and try to get off a move here. I do get off a move. Will the opponent shield it, though? That's the question. They do shield it, and the opponent's going to fire off a move here. Now, the next question is, folks, can we reach the move in time? 1, 2, the opponent catches on the Pelipper, bro. Honestly, I completely forgot that this thing was here. They catch on the Pelipper, and I think they were at the overheat already, but they just wanted to make sure it would actually KO, because they had the attack harshly fell, and it's a non-stop overheat. I feel like it might have not one-shot, actually, come to think of it. because it was pretty much a full health Ninetales, but that's pretty much it for the battles, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Of course, drop a like, drop a sub, it's very much appreciated. Join our Discord community. We're up to about 2174 here. Hopefully gonna make that climb towards, you know, I want to at least get veteran quite soon and make a push towards expert. And you know, basically my goals for the season here is just to build up my Pokemon a little bit. I've got a lot of Pokemon with bad IVs, as you're seeing here with the Farforeign. Like, I'm using a lucky Pokemon 12, 14, 14. I have a lot of bad IV Pokemon. I'm just trying to build up my account a little bit, try to improve my gameplay and make a push. My highest ever rating last season was 2550, I think. We did hit veteran, but we're doing a little bit of playing here with Sableye, just for a bit of footage at the end of the video. We're going to build up this bio at some point. I've got a lucky Sableye. But yeah, that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Drop a like, drop a sub, and I'll catch you all next time.